Time for another board game review, and this time we have the game Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid. This was sent to me by Renegade Game Studios and is designed by Jonathan Ying. It's morphin' time! Angel Grove is under attack. Rita Repulsa has dispatched her evil army and the town is beginning to panic. It's up to the Power Rangers to defend Angel Grove against these fearsome foes. Only by working together can they defeat Rita and restore peace. Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid is a cooperative board game that challenges your team of Power Rangers, each with your own unique combat deck, to work together and fight off the incoming horde. Included in the core game box are brutal baddies like Rita Repulsa, Pudgy Pig, and Madame Woe. Or Madame Woe? Yeah, Madame Woe, as well as relentless swarms of putty patrollers for the Mighty Morphin team to tackle. Go, go, Power Rangers! I'm sorry, Sophie. We should have to play. Alright, so in this game you are trying to face Rita Repulsa and her relentless swarms of putty patrollers and super putty patrollers, as well as formidable monsters like Bones, Nasty Knight, Madame Woe, and Pudgy Pig. You gotta defend Angel Grove. So Angel Grove is this board here, and we have our Power Rangers in the middle. So this is a cooperative game. You win or lose collectively as a team. The game can end in 3 different ways. If all 4 outer locations are ever panicked at the same time, you instantly lose. If a ranger is defeated when there are no more energy tokens, you start with 3 here, if you can see those. If they are defeated and there are no more energy tokens, you lose. If you're able to defeat the boss in battle and survive until the end of that battle, you win. The game is played in a series of rounds until you win or lose. In each round of the game, there are 2 phases, which occur in order. First, you deploy enemies, then you do actions. So, during each deployment phase, you resolve 5 enemy deployments. So we take the deployment deck here, and then you reveal the top card. So that's going to be 2 putty patrollers in the industrial district. So you put 2 of those guys in there. Next card says 2 super putties in Angel Grove High. 2 super putties in Angel Grove High. 3 super putties in Angel Grove Park, and finally 2 putty patrollers in Ernie's Juice Bar. Now, if you look at this number here, this is the figure limit, and if a location ever has that many figures in it, it becomes panicked. What happens then is you place a panicked token on that location. Not here, but let's say theoretically there were 5 figures here. That location would now be panicked. If you ever reveal a monster card, like one of these, or a boss card, you have to reveal that one too. So let's say we revealed this monster card and it's Bones. That means Bones is going in the industrial district. Very nice minis, by the way. And you put him here. Now, whenever a monster or boss is deployed, that location automatically becomes panicked, even if it's not full. So now the industrial district is also panicked. If a location is full and you need to deploy units there, then you go clockwise to the next location. So if I drew another Angel Grove High card, I would have to put them into Ernie's Juice Bar. Then when you finish, you take your foot soldier deployment cards, shuffle them up, and put them on the bottom of the deck, face down. Now it's time for the action phase. During the action phase, you can spend actions to defend Angel Grove. So you have action tokens. Each of you starts with 2 of them. And as you do actions, you flip them to show that you have spent the action. There is no turn order. You can do your actions in any order you want, and everyone has their own available actions. Now, one action you can do is move. You can move your figure from its current location to any other location, regardless of distance. So, Ren Rager might be like, okay, we got to take care of Angel Grove High. He's going to move here for 1 action. If you ever move into the command center, you may power up. To power up, you shuffle all cards from your hand and discard pile back into your deck, then draw a new hand of up to 5 cards, because each Power Ranger has their own 10-card deck that they're using for battle. So if you need to refresh, you can go power up. Not only do you get your cards back into your deck, but you can take an energy token as well, and these are very useful. Powering up is a free action and doesn't count against your available actions. Another action you can do is initiate a battle. So what would happen then is you would, all the Rangers on that same space, and you would get into the fight with the enemies. And you would take the lead Ranger token to show that you started the fight. So let's say red, yellow, and blue were all on here, and red used battle. Then all 3 of those Rangers can get into the fight. And finally, another action you can do is recover. When you recover, you may choose cards from your discard pile with a total of up to 6 shields. So if you look at these cards, they have shields on the bottom, and so you can take cards up to 6 shields worth, shuffle them back into your deck, and take an energy token from the supply. You can only have one energy token at a time. Once everyone's done all their actions, the round is over, you flip your action tokens face up, and any Zord cards you use are ready. I'll get into the Zord cards later. So let's get into the meat of the game, which is the battles. Let's say red, yellow, and blue are gonna fight these super putties. First off, you take 2 energy tokens for preparation, and you place them on the power board. That means these tokens are now available for anybody to use. And then any ranger who has fewer than 5 cards in hand can draw as many as they want, up to 5, and then you count how many foot soldiers are there. In this case, 5. These are all the same type, so you draw the same type of cards, otherwise you would draw different cards. There can never be more than 4 foot soldiers participating in a battle, so in this case, you would actually challenge 4 of them. So, you would draw 1, 2, 3, 4 of these cards, and you would place them into the combat sequence. So you start placing these cards left to right. So here we have a super putty card, another one, and another one. Now, if any of them had the keyword fast on them, they would get pushed to the top of the row. For example, let me find one. If a boss was in play, and let's just pretend there is one for the sake of example, you would do the same thing. You would play cards. In this case, it's a fast card, so it automatically goes there. This one's also fast, so it technically goes here, but same thing. This card also goes to the front, and this card stays in the back. So this is our combat sequence. Now, usually the rangers take the first turn of the battle, but since one of the cards here has fast on it, the enemies take the first turn. We'll get into enemy turns in a second. Once the battle is done, if there are any energy tokens remaining in the pool, you can split them amongst yourselves. You can only store one at a time. All foot soldier cards and all undefeated monster and boss cards are removed from the sequence and shuffled back into their decks. But any defeated monster or boss cards are placed in discard piles because you beat them. If the current location was panicked, but there are no enemy figures remaining there, it is no longer panicked. But let's get into how this battle actually works. So during each enemy turn, you resolve the active enemy card, which is the leftmost and topmost card in the combat sequence. So this one says, engulf, drain 1 energy. So they would just simply steal an energy from the Power Rangers. Once you have carried out the effects on the card, you tap it to show it has been resolved. Now that the enemy's taken a turn, now it's time for the Power Rangers to take a turn. On each turn, you choose one ranger to be the active ranger, and they may play 1 attack or maneuver from their hand, spending energy tokens equal to that card's energy cost. So let's say Red Ranger decides he wants to play Power Sword. He would have to spend 3 energy tokens to do that. But then he would get to do an attack. So let's say that Red Ranger is going to target the... Oh, well, actually, he can't target this one because of the guard keyword. Let me explain that really quick. If an enemy card has a guard keyword, any enemy cards that are adjacent to it, either horizontally or vertically, cannot be targeted by attacks. So it may be worth it to actually go for this guy so that you can free up some combat here. So let's say Red Ranger uses the Power Sword. He would get to roll 5 dice. And also, the next time any Ranger performs an attack during this battle, add 2 dice. So he's going to roll these 5. And that's going to be bam, 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 bam. Lots of hits. This guy only has 2 HP, so bam, bam, he's done. Now you might ask, wait, this card has a guard on it. Doesn't that mean this card is guarded? No. Guard cards can't guard each other. But if you defeat the card, you flip the card over to show it was defeated. Another type of card you can play is a maneuver. Like here we have Blue Ranger's Knowledge's power card. It's 0 energy, so it's a free card. It lets you gain 1 crystal, and a ranger of your choice may search their deck for a card and add it to their hand. If they do, they must shuffle their deck. So that lets you get better cards easier. And finally, there are reaction cards that can be played out of turn. Like Yellow Ranger here has Twin Fang Teamwork. Play this card after another ranger resolves an attack to deal 1 damage to the target of that attack. Once you've played your card for that turn, then it's back to the enemy. Now, whenever you defeat a foot soldier, so here you would take a super putty and you put him on the experience track, and we'll get to what happens there later. If you defeat a monster card, you have to defeat 4 of them to defeat the monster. So let's say during the battle, we actually went through and beat all 4 of these cards. That means this monster will be removed from the board, and all remaining foot soldier figures in the location are returned to the supply. If you can't beat the monster in one battle, you may have to challenge them again in order to get the cards you missed. In the final battle, which I won't show, but it's basically Rita Repulsa, and you have to defeat 6 of her cards, which means you will have to fight her in more than one battle because you can only fight 4 of her cards at maximum during a fight. Now, energy is really valuable in a fight, and one thing you can do is actually, if you have unused actions, you can spend the action to add 2 energy tokens to the pool. That way, everybody can get more energy for cards. Some enemy cards may have passive effects, like this Putty Patroller flanking. While this card is in play, each time another enemy card deals damage, increase that damage by 1. That's really irritating, so you may want to take out this guy so his effect isn't in play. Now, many enemy cards will deal damage when they resolve. So let's say this guy did his turn. Swarm Attack. Deal 1 damage, increase this damage by 1 for each foot soldier in this location. And there are 4 in this location. Actually, let's say there's 3. So that means it's going to be 4 damage. You have to decide which ranger is going to take the damage. Now, whenever a ranger takes damage, they reveal the top card of their deck for defense. So if you look here, that's 2 shields. Okay. So if the number of shields is less than the damage, you discard that card and you reveal the next one. All right. Now it's added up to 4. So then we can stop. But basically, those cards go to your discard pile. Your deck is your health for each ranger. If you ever run out of cards in your deck, you are defeated. You remove 1 energy token from the command center, and if you ever run out of tokens there and a ranger gets defeated, you lose the game. Any ranger that gets defeated gets sent back to the command center. That ranger will then shuffle together all the cards from their hand in the discard pile to reset their deck and draw a new hand up to 5. And they take an energy token from the supply. If all rangers in a battle are defeated, you just go straight to battle cleanup. If an enemy tries to drain energy like this guy does, but you don't have any energy left to drain, then a ranger has to discard 1 card from their hand for each energy they could not pay. So yeah, once the battle is done, like I said, let's say we defeated all these cards, then you would do cleanup. You would remove figures for these. In this case, the boss is also defeated, so you remove the boss from the board, and so on. Now let's get into these Zord cards. So if you fill this experience track with foot soldiers that you've defeated, like this, every time you defeat foot soldiers or a monster is defeated, you get to summon a Zord. So when that happens, you advance this power marker up a space and reveal the top card of the Zord deck. In this case, Pterodactyl. Exhaust this card during a battle to gain 2 energy. That's just free energy. And that associated ranger doesn't have to be in the game. It's just as soon as you tap it, you exhaust it. Once the round is done, they're all back in play. The Megazord is always the last card in the deck. That's when you reach level 6. You summon the Megazord. Any ranger can use that ability. And once you've gotten that card, there are no more Zord cards. That's pretty much it. I mean, you're running around battling the cards, taking them out. So let's kind of go into some of the other cards. Like, you know, your Zord abilities. You can have, like, the Saber-Toothed Tiger. Exhaust this card during a battle to allow each participating ranger to drop 2 cards. Tyrannosaurus. Exhaust this card before a ranger performs an attack to add 2 dice to that attack. Also, each ranger comes with their own ability. So, like, Kimberly has Quick Shot. At the start of each battle, you may deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. Billy, Strategize. Once per battle, a ranger of your choice may draw 1 card and place 1 card from their hand back on top of their deck. Jason, Leadership. Once per battle, a ranger of your choice may re-roll any number of dice during attack. They all have different sort of abilities. And they all have very different types of cards. So, for example, like, Jason is all about offense, so he's always attacking with a lot of dice, and you can re-roll the dice. I'm not going to go through every single ranger, but I kind of went over blue and yellow a little bit. So Black Ranger, Sweeping Strike. This guy, you can deal 1 damage to enemy cards adjacent to targets. He's kind of more about sort of like area damage. which is pretty cool. Pink Ranger is all about getting that energy. Flying Kick is a free attack, and you get an energy. Yeah, and all the Rangers have different specialties, but yeah. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You just go around beating up enemies, trying to make sure the locations don't get panicked, and defeating the cards in battle by playing cards. And that's the game. Okay, so my feelings in this one are a little complicated, but first, let's dive into what's good. First off, if you're a board game enthusiast and a Power Rangers fan, I think this is a must-buy. I honestly do. This is some of the most incredible production value I've seen. The miniatures are really great, and there's a lot of love in making sure the art and the design and all of the details really capture that classic Power Rangers feel. However, I didn't really watch a lot of Power Rangers growing up, so for me, I have to rely more on the gameplay design, which is good, but there are some things that I'm not crazy about. I think the gameplay is a little too fiddly at times. There's a lot of, okay, these cards guard these cards, but then these ones have passives, so you gotta make sure, oh, but the guards don't guard each other, but fast goes here, but this passive is in play. There's nothing wrong with that approach, because it makes, you have to add extra strategy, but sometimes it was a little cumbersome to trying to keep track of all the details, and I feel like also in the rules there's a lot of like, normally you do this, unless this, and I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. I think learning the flow of gameplay in this was actually kind of agonizing the first time we tried it, because there were all these trip-ups of, wait, oh, but no, because don't forget this, if this happens, it was kind of a muddle. With that said, once you do learn the flow, the card play is actually very fun. It is the best part of this game by far. I think the Rangers' decks and abilities feel very fitting for the characters. They're very unique and fun. I love leveling up the Megazord and getting new abilities. The card play is really fun, and the dice chucking is also just a good time. But then there are elements of the design that I think are just kind of plain unfair. I think one of my biggest complaints with the game is that you can only take out 4 foot soldiers in a battle at a time. And if an area gets panicked and you take soldiers out but there's still one guy left, it stays panicked. Meaning, even though there's only one guy in this 5-person space, just because we couldn't take all 5 of them out in one battle, it's still panicked. This normally wouldn't matter if not for the fact that you lose instantly if all 4 are panicked, which is very easy to happen. Because this can lead to very absurdly unfair turns, where there was one example, we played really well. We destroyed like 95% of the putties, left and right, but then this one area had 5 putties left, and we could only target 4 of them. So there was 1 left on the board, but the area was technically still panicked, because there was just one guy there. Other than that, we had pretty much no other enemies on the board. But then, with a bad set of draws, including a monster reveal, because remember, if a monster goes in an area, it becomes panicked no matter what. That means just 2 areas just filled up, and then the monster skipped with a panicked area, landed in the last one, and we instantly lost. I genuinely don't think there was anything we could have done, because we defeated almost all the enemies, but then because of just bad card draws, boop, 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 panic, done, you lose. I don't think it makes thematic sense for an area with just 1 soldier in it to be considered panicked just because we couldn't finish off one last guy. Either let us target as many as we want, like let us target 5 of them. There's 5 guys in the space. Let us target 5. And maybe we could, like, I don't know, pay damage or something to make it more equal. Or have it be once the area is no longer full, it's not panicked. Or, let monsters go into panicked areas. There's a couple different ways where I feel like it would make more sense. But again, after we played this a couple times, but that one game, we were just like, oh. Like there was nothing we pretty much could have done, and I felt like it wasn't even our fault. That whole monsters make an area panic no matter what, you can't target more than 4, it's pretty damning. Or, I don't know, balance the deck maybe better, because it's going for like a pandemic style of, okay, these monster cards randomly get put in these piles, but sometimes that means you just get really shitty turns. So some of you might respond to this criticism with like, well, just get good at games, baby, or why not just play at an easier difficulty or house rule it? But I always judge games on their default level. And it pains me because I think if that aspect of the game had been more properly balanced, I think this game would be great. As it is, though, with only 4 areas and it's so easy for them to fill up without, with a lot of it out of your control, I would say it's a pretty good card battle game with amazing components, but too much potential bad luck against you, especially in the early game. In the early game, it's fucking brutal. Like I said, though, if you're a die-hard Power Rangers fan, I think this is an instant recommend, despite my complaints, because it just looks and plays so great for Power Rangers fans. But if you aren't a Power Rangers fan like me, then you'll have to decide, is a random turn's bad luck ending in instant failure, is that going to dissuade you? If you're up to the challenge and don't care about that, it's a good game. But if you can't, I can't fully recommend this wholeheartedly. Even though I think the system is fun, I don't think the card monster deployment system is balanced enough for my tastes.